I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks for the Snowman tags, mainly the finishing touches. In the instructions, I said that you might want to rinse out your wedges or wrap them in plastic wrap so that you can do the little details like I did here. So for instance, I dusted along the hat with the white, I dusted along the tag with black, I dusted the snowflakes, the carrot, so different things like that. However, if you are working fairly quickly, the tags don't tend to take me too long. So if you're working fairly quickly, you don't have to worry about wrapping them or rinsing them out. You can just leave them. Just if you're going to like leave your project and then come back, you may want to think about doing that. So I have all of my pieces painted. You don't need to paint for the snowman tag. I said in the instructions, you don't need to paint inside the edging. That's all getting covered up. You can if you want to, but it's just extra work. So as far as the blue, I'm gonna go ahead and take my blue wedge. The number one thing to do when you're just wanting to dust the edges is to go ahead and bounce up and down a box on like a clean edge of your box several times. You want most of that paint gone. And then I basically just take all of my white pieces and I just go ahead, well, I shouldn't say all, most of them. And I very, very lightly, I am barely touching the edges and I very lightly dab up and down to dust that. I didn't do the rings. You can go ahead and do those if you want. And I didn't do the smallest snowflakes. I just did the snowman face and the snowbank and the large snowflakes. So same thing, just lightly bounce. And then if you realize like, okay, I actually did a really great job at getting all that paint off, and so now it's not dusting, go ahead and lightly dip it into that blue paint again, and then just dab to your heart's content to get most of that off. And then for these bigger snowflakes, I just did like the very top or outer edges of those. You can do as many or as much or as little as you would like. I don't know if you can see the difference. It really just elevates this little tiny, I mean, it takes like 30 seconds and it just elevates it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. You can do your little snowflakes if you want. I just didn't think they needed it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna save this snowman face over to the edge because I'm not finished with that. So I'm gonna put back my blue wedge, and then let's go to our black one next. So same thing, just bounce, 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 bounce. Make sure you're bouncing on a clean edge so that you don't pick up any other paint colors. The black is a much, much harsher color. Like it is so much darker, obviously. And so you're gonna wanna get most of that off just because it will pick up. So I dusted the burr letters as well as this blue tag. So let's just start here. I am barely touching it. I would prefer doing just a tiny bit of dusting and then going back and adding more versus trying to sand it off or having to paint over it. And again, I'm not gonna go ahead or I'm not gonna do along this edge because you are not going to see that. Okay, there's my tag. And I'm gonna set that over to the side. And then let's get my letters. Same thing, just lightly bounce up and down. If you wanted to get, I did not in my pictures, and I'm not I don't think it needs it, but if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to get inside, like the R cut out or these smaller pieces, you can either do that with like a little mini paintbrush if you really wanted to, or you could even get like a wet paper towel or a baby wipe and make sure that you just wipe most of that paint off and just kind of wipe it onto there. I didn't think it needed it though. Felt like this was plenty. But if you want to get a little extra, there's a tip for you. Okay, so my letters are done, and now let's go to the white dusting. I did that on just the remaining pieces. So, get most of that off of my wedge. My box is running out of clean space because I have used, and okay, once you're done with that, I just did the same thing. This wedge is a little dry. You can see how it's such a thin line. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use, you could use this end. I'm just gonna put more paint on mine, but you could use this side, just FYI, if you were experiencing the same thing as I am right now. Let's see if that helps out. Oh, yep, that's all it needed. You see as I'm building it. You may not need to go over twice. If you're happy with how yours looks, don't follow me and go over it twice. I'm just slowly building mine up because I don't want to do too much and then feel like I way overdid it. Okay, then I did the hat as well, the top hat. Okay, I got kicked off. So I'm trying to remember, it's now time for the white dusting. So go ahead and grab your white wedge. The same thing, it's the opposite of black, obviously, and so it's gonna show up a lot. I've already dusted my tag because you saw me do the other one. So as far as the hat, I went ahead and dusted both the band as well as the top and kind of like the three edges. I didn't do this side on either of mine. So but you can do whatever you want, but same thing, just very lightly dust along the edges. I kind of get a little bit fatter when it comes around the corners, just because usually the corners are what like collects wear more. And then I did the same with the band, kind of went around the corner a little bit messier. Okay, and then the carrot, I didn't do the whole thing on mine, but you can really do whatever you want. I didn't want to do too much on that. So that's all I did on my carrot. So once that is finished, then I'm gonna go ahead and take back I'm gonna set that aside so they can dry. I'm gonna take back my snowman head. Now you can, I'm looking for my supplies. You can use the back end of your mini paintbrush. I'm looking for a mini paintbrush and I don't have one in front of me. So pretend this is your brush. You can use this back end. I have posted these in my group before. If you do a lot of kits and you like to do the accents, I recommend picking up a pair that I think they're called dotting tools. I can send you the link if you're interested. It comes in a pack of like, I don't know, 5 or 6, and they have different size dots on the end of them. And it just makes it a lot faster and easier, I think. So all you do, obviously, if you don't have these, you would just use that back end of your mini paintbrush or the flat toothpick I send. Just dip it into the paint, dip into that middle of that eye, and kind of circle it around to spread. And I'm gonna do that with the eyes as well as the mouth. You can also, if you have a paint marker, you can also just color it in with that. I'm gonna get a little closer to the edge on this eye. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside to dry, and then I need, obviously, if you're using the mini paintbrush or your dotting tool, then just get a paper towel and clean off the end. I'm just using my apron because I don't see a paper towel in front of me. And now I'm going to show you how I did the polka dots. So I went ahead and dotted the background of these. The easiest way to do polka dots when it's something that is fairly symmetrical, like a square or a rectangle, I mean. So I go ahead and dot, and then I do, even though I know this side is gonna be covered with the snowbank, in order to keep it symmetrical, I'm still going to dot what's going to be covered. If you have a good eye, don't worry about doing that, but just in case you're wondering, like, why is she wasting her time on that? It's because I'm not, I'm not smart enough not to. So I do this on both tags, so it's gonna be the same process. I'm just gonna show you once, but I dot the corner, and again, you'll use your mini paintbrush if that's all you have, the corner, and then I go ahead and eyeball where the middle is from there, and then I dot in between each, or in the middle of each dot. So that's where you've got going so far. And then same thing, I go halfway up this tag, and don't overthink it. It doesn't need to be perfect. And then this corner, and I try to go across here, boop. And then this corner, and then in between each one. And this will help you get that, it looks random, but if you've ever tried polka dotting something and then it just looks like things are just smashed everywhere, this will help avoid that. So then I basically just go up and across, just match them. So go across from here, up from here.